Hey guys, Kevin here. Today, because I'm hungry, I'm going to make Sarah Copeland's cheesy breakfast egg and polenta casserole. The recipe, which I've printed out for easy reference, was originally published in the New York Times. First up, center the oven rack and preheat the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Then grab a 9 by 13 baking dish and grease it with butter. This is my butter. Now for this next step, Sarah says to bring 4 cups of water to a boil. In what we should boil the water, Sarah does not say. So I've taken the liberty of using a saucepan, and I'm bringing it to a boil over high heat. Now, while we wait for the water to boil, we need to measure out 1 cup of instant or quick cooking polenta. And that's what I have right here. And I'm going to level that out. And then I can take the excess and pour it back into the jar. And by the way, my polenta came in this vacuum sealed package. It's 16 ounces. It cost about $3. And I transferred it to a jar just for easy pouring and storage. I even labeled the jar. Okay, my water has come to a rapid boil. So now we add a half teaspoon of salt to the water. And then we gradually whisk in, where's my polenta? Here it is. We whisk in the polenta. And we are supposed to cook this, whisking all the while, until, what does she say? Until the polenta bubbles and pulls away from the pan, about 3 minutes. And something tells me this will take less than 3 minutes, but in any event, I will turn the camera off and come back to you when it is ready. Okay, I'm back because it started to bubble almost immediately. So I'm just going to keep whisking vigorously. And I'm also going to lower the heat a little because it's starting to spatter all over the place. And is it pulling away from the pan yet? I don't think so. Actually, this is the first time I've ever made polenta. So this is a new experience for me. And maybe for you too, if you decide to make this dish. I'm actually making it because Sarah's list of ingredients just sounded, well, they sounded too good not to make. And it is pulling away from the sides of the pan. So then we add some butter. And she doesn't say to do this off heat, so I'm going to leave it on heat. We're adding 2 tablespoons of butter, and I'm going to whisk those in until they melt. And they are melting right away because, of course, this is a very hot substance. And then we have to add 1 cup of milk. And at this point, we're supposed to stir. So I have a flat wooden spatula here. And this is supposed to make a loose mixture because it's going to be poured into that casserole dish that I greased with non-stick spray a little earlier. Well, this is looking good already. And then we are going to add a half cup, let me double check that. Yes, a half cup of Fontina mozzarella or a blend. Well, I am using some smoked Gouda. I bought a nice chunk of this Gouda at the supermarket this morning, and I shredded it in my food processor. I actually have more like a cup here, but, well, I like cheesy polenta, so you can do the half cup. I will do a full cup. I think it's going to work out just fine. And we'll let this melt, which it is doing already. And then I'm going to take this off heat. And by the way, I will write this recipe out on my website in my own words. And here we go. We're going to pour this luscious looking polenta mixture into the bottom of the baking dish. And I'm using my color coordinated spatula to make sure I get every drop of this goodness into the dish. That looks wonderful. And then, let's see, we have to layer this with some meat. And she says 5 ounces of thinly sliced keyword meat such as hot or sweet Italian sausage, salami, or ham. And I don't know if you can see, but I have some sweet Italian sausage that I cooked last night, and I sliced it as thinly as I could with a knife. And we're just going to scatter this all over the polenta. It's one piece that's a little too thick. And I probably have more like 6 ounces of Italian sausage here, but that's okay. We like Italian sausage. And then we add some spinach, which I forgot in the refrigerator. This is real life cooking, folks. This ain't the Food Network. And I measured out about a half, well, how much did I measure out? About 1 cup of packed baby spinach leaves. And I'm just, roughly tearing them. And doesn't this look good already? And then we have to make a well in the polenta because we are going to add some eggs. So we are adding 8 eggs because this casserole makes enough for 8 servings. 1 egg per person. Actually, the polenta is a little loose to make the wells, but I'm doing the best I can. I'm sure it will all work out. There's 1, 2. I'll bet you think I'm going to make you watch me do all 8 eggs. Well, I am not. I'm going to turn the camera off and I'll come back when all the eggs are in the mix. Well, I got all of the eggs into the polenta, and now we are going to sprinkle the eggs with a half cup of Parmesan cheese, and I'm using finely grated Parmesan. Actually, did she say a half cup or did she say a quarter cup? Nope, she said half cup. That seems like quite a bit. But I'm going to follow directions and use all of the cheese. And then this goes into the oven for, let's see, I have my directions right here. Sprinkle with Parmesan and bake 10 to 15 minutes depending on how set you like your eggs. And I do like my eggs a little on the runny side. I definitely like oozy yolks. So I'm going to put this in the oven for 10 minutes and then I'll come back. And here is our casserole. And I will tell you that I let it cook for 10 minutes, and then I checked the eggs and they were way too runny, so I did end up cooking this for 15 minutes at 400 degrees. And it's very interesting because the picture in the New York Times, the eggs were visible and the bits of meat were sticking up. But then I also noticed below the picture, there was a photo credit, and then it said food stylist was somebody, I can't remember the name. And food stylists have a special knack for making things look better than, well, what they might look like if people like you or me make the same dish. So anyway, the next step is to sprinkle the goods with freshly ground black pepper, and then Sarah Copeland said sprinkle it with torn leaves of basil. But just try finding basil in mid-December in the Northeast. You can't. And so I am using some flat leaf parsley to sprinkle on top because, well, I love parsley. Now, if you live in a warmer climate than me, you can probably find basil. And then we are to serve this warm. So let me grab a plate and I will dish up a serving. Here we go. A heaping helping of what looks like something that will taste pretty darn good. Grab a fork and we'll have a little taste test. And let's check this. I'm going to cut through the middle to see the yolk. You to see it too. Oh, the yolk's a little overcooked. Okay, so maybe I should have only cooked this for 10 minutes, but I'm going to try it anyway. Get some polenta in here and maybe a bit of meat. Oh, this is wonderful. And I can only imagine how good this would be with basil on top. One more bite. So, is this casserole worth making? I say absolutely yes. It's totally delicious, even though I overcooked the eggs. And I can only imagine how many variations are possible. You could use a different kind of meat. You could use, I don't know, arugula instead of spinach for the leafy green vegetable. I would, however, recommend using less Parmesan cheese over the eggs so that the egg yolks will be visible. And what else? Oh, and I would definitely use basil if you can possibly find it, because I think the flavor of basil would just, well, it would gild this lily. And thanks for spending time with me in the kitchen today. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's a little subscribe button over here somewhere. And I will see you next time very soon. Bye for now.